The shot that breaks the clay happens in your hands. But the decision that makes the shot happen, the one that separates a 95 from an 85, happens in your head. And it happens in about half a second. Between the moment you see the target and the moment your gun starts to move, a pro shooter's brain has already done something that most amateurs never learn to do. It has read the line, locked the hold point, and committed to a move. Not three separate thoughts. One single, compressed, instantaneous read. Most shooters go through a much slower process. They see the clay. They react. They try to figure out the line in the middle of the swing. They adjust on the fly. Sometimes they break it. Often they do not. And they cannot explain why, because the shot felt the same as the one before. In this video, I will show you the mental framework that turns target reading from a guess into a reflex, and give you a drill to train it before your next round. Before we get into it, please subscribe to the channel. Let's go. Why your brain is slower than you think. The first thing to understand is that half a second is not an exaggeration. It is roughly how long you have between a clay becoming visible and your gun needing to start its move, before you have lost the bird. Here is what your brain is doing in that window if you have not trained it. Step 1. You register the flash of orange. Step 2. You try to determine direction. Left, right, up, crossing. Step 3. You try to estimate speed. Step 4. You guess at a hold point. Step 5. You start the gun moving. That is a 5-step sequence. By the time you reach step 4, the clay has traveled 20 yards. You are already behind. The swing is rushed. The mount is unstable. The trigger breaks late. And the shooter walks off the stand saying a phrase every clay shooter knows too well. That felt right. I do not know why I missed. The pro's half-second looks completely different. The pro sees the machine, has already drawn a mental line from the trap mouth to the kill zone, and has already set their hold point, before they ever call pull. The only thing happening in that half-second is confirmation. The clay appears on the predicted line. The brain says, yes. The gun moves. That difference between reading and reacting versus reading and confirming is the entire game. Step 1. Draw the line before you call pull. The first skill is the simplest and the most skipped. Before you load a shell, before you close the action, before you even set your feet, look at the machine. Look at where the clay is coming from. Look at the sky above it. Trace the flight path with your eyes from the trap mouth all the way to where you intend to break it. This is not a guess. You have just watched the shooter before you. You have seen the target. The line is visible if you look for it. Most shooters do not trace the line. They glance at the machine. They look at the kill zone, and they assume their brain will connect the 2 points during the swing. It will not. It will try. And it will add a quarter second of processing time to every single move. Draw the line explicitly. Trace it with your eyes. Do it twice. Do it a third time. Make your brain commit to a line before you ask it to execute on one. Step 2. Find the hard focus point. Here is a term that sounds technical but is simple once you understand it. The hard focus point. It is the spot along the target line where the clay transitions from a blur of color into a defined, clear shape that your eyes can lock onto. For most targets, this happens 10 to 20 feet after the clay leaves the machine, not at the machine mouth, where the clay is too fast and too small to resolve. If you try to focus right at the trap, you get a smear. Your brain gets no usable speed or angle data. You react late. If you set your focus point too far out, halfway to the kill zone, the clay arrives at your eyes and your gun at the same time. You get no separation. You cannot process speed before you have to move. Ben Hustwaite calls this the cheap instructor fix. Moving your eyes out so the move feels shorter, when what you actually need is more time to read the bird. The hard focus point gives you separation. Your eyes catch the blur early. By the time it sharpens into a clay, your brain already has speed, angle, and distance. The gun has not moved yet, but it is about to, with information. Drill. The focus point finder. Next time you're on a stand, call for the target and do not mount the gun. Just watch the clay with your eyes. Notice the exact point where it goes from blur to clear. That is your hard focus point. Remember it. It will be the same for every shooter on that stand. Step 3. The 50% rule for hold point. Once you have drawn the line and found the hard focus point, the hold point is not a guess. It is math. Take the distance between your hard focus point and your intended break point. Split it in half. That is where your gun sits before you call pull. Madison Sharp, Remington Pro Shooter, teaches exactly this. Hold point is halfway between where you first see the clay clearly and where you intend to break it. Not closer to the break point to make the move shorter. Not closer to the machine where you're chasing the bird from too far back. 50%. Every time. Here is why the 50% rule works regardless of target speed. If a clay is slow, you hold at 50% and your hands move slowly. If a clay is fast, you hold at the same 50% and your hands move fast. The hold point does not change. Your gun speed changes. This is what Ben Hustwaite means when he says the top shooters all do the same thing. They control their speed, not their hold. The amateur instinct is to push the hold point closer to the break point on a fast bird to shorten the move. That works exactly once, on a single target, in practice. It fails in competition when you have a report pair and your eyes have to hunt back to the machine for the second bird while your gun is sitting out near the break point. You have not trained for it. You miss. Hold at 50%. Train your hands to manage speed. Do not let the target dictate your setup. Step 4. Commit before you move. The final piece is the one that separates shooters who break 90 from shooters who break 80. You have drawn the line. You have found the hard focus point. You have set the hold point at 50%. You call pull. The clay appears. Now you must commit. Most shooters hesitate here. They see the clay and they want confirmation that their read was correct before they start the move. Even a tenth of a second costs them the target. The pro trusts the pre-shot read. The clay appears on the predicted line. The brain says confirmed, and the gun is already moving because the decision was made before the clay left the machine. The half second between pull and move is not spent processing. It is spent executing. If you have drawn the line correctly, if you have set the hold point at 50%, if you have committed your eyes to the hard focus point, then the clay will appear exactly where you expect it. You do not need to confirm. You need to trust. Drill. The no-look routine. At home with an unloaded gun, pick a spot on the wall. Run through the full sequence. Draw the line with your eyes. Find the hard focus point. Set the hold point at 50%. Call, pull out loud, and move the gun. Do not break the move halfway to check anything. The gun goes from hold point to break point in one motion. Do this 30 times. Take it to the course. If this helped you, hit like and subscribe. Drop a comment. Which of these 4 steps do you skip the most? I read every one. See you on the next one.